Hello everybody. Today we are going to be going over the Introduction to Variables and Types problem. Go ahead and click on the link here. It'll open up a Vocarium tab for you. This is the IDE Vocarium. Top right says Instance Variables. You scroll down just a little bit, you'll see that we have a particular basic syntax labeled as data type variable name equals value. Data type could be anything like an int, long, boolean, char, stuff like that. And then whatever you want to input the name as, equal to a particular value. So first and foremost, we have to get into this recipe.java file by following this particular directory. Now, to complete the assignment, there is two different ways that we can do it. The first way, and the most common way, is using the folders section over here on the left side of the IDE Vocarium. Below, we have the terminal where we put in all of our commands. We can use this particular one as well, and this too will give us the ability to actually enter this recipe.java file. Because the folders directory is the most common way that people get to it, this is how we'll start it off. So first and foremost, go ahead and click on the Work tab. We're going to follow this particular set right here. So go ahead and click on src, and then main, Java, com, ATA, and then you can go ahead and open up your recipe.java file. And here we are. So right away, we'll go ahead and begin with step 1, which is going to go over reference types. Go ahead and click on line 6, tab, that way we're aligned with everything else. And the first one says, declare a string type variable named title and initialize it with the value of French toast. So to declare a string, we're going to go ahead and type it out. Capital S-T-R-I-N-G, string, the name of it, which is title. Forgive me, I'm just going to scroll up just a little bit here. This is that basic syntax that we're talking about. The data type is string, the variable name is title, and what we're going to do next is equal that to, it said French toast. Now with strings, we have to use double quotes because strings are for words. Words start with that double quote, okay? French toast, semicolon. After every line, we have to make sure that we enter this semicolon. Number 2 says create a string array called ingredients. So we're just going to break it down. We're going to start with that first portion right there. It's going to be a little bit different than what we're putting in, barely, but we're going to start off with string. An array starts with square brackets, and the name is going to be ingredients. A couple other things when it comes to arrays as well is that they begin with a curly bracket. Okay? Assign the array elements as each ingredient in the order here, which is bread, milk, eggs, butter, sugar, and cinnamon. Again, these are words, and words have that double quote. So we're going to go ahead and start. And each word here is going to have its own set of quotes, followed by a comma. Milk, comma, eggs, comma, butter, comma, sugar, comma, and cinnamon. Perfect. Don't forget to end curly bracket, and then we're going to end it with a semicolon. That finishes step 1 and step 2 of the reference types. You can go ahead and go into the terminal and run -workflow step-01. If everything works out correctly, and normally this is the part that takes the longest, if everything works out correctly, we should be getting a successful build. First, we have to let it execute, configure, all that good stuff. Alrighty, perfect. It looks like we got a successful build. We can go ahead and go down to step 2, which is primitive types. We're going to stay in this recipe area. This recipe area is also known as a method, so keep that in mind. The first portion says declare a long variable named ID and set the value to this particular number. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. Long is the data type. The name of it is ID equals, which is initialized, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and 1. Now with a long variable type, we have to end it with a lowercase l or capital L. I like to do the capital L, and the reason why, as you can see, is because that lowercase l looks like an 11, so I can't really tell if I'm going through all my coding. I can get easily mixed up, a lowercase l or a 1. I can't tell if this says 9011 or just 11, so therefore I like to stay with the capital L. It also lets me know that this is a long variable, and then we're going to go ahead and end it with a semicolon. Step 2 says create an int variable named number of ingredients, but do not initialize it. Perfect. So with the long int, we have to add that capital L there, the uppercase L. So when it comes to int, we are going to do the number of ingredients, and we're not going to add anything because it says do not initialize it. Lowercase is going to be the first word, just like it is in the first one here and the first one here. First word here as well is all lowercase. The words that follow afterwards, though, like of and ingredients, are going to be capital. That way we can tell that there's words here. Otherwise, in most cases, it might just look like a bunch of jambling words, and it'd take us a little bit extra long to identify each particular word. Initializing means equals. So that's why when it says do not initialize, we're just going to add the semicolon. It means that something's here, but it just doesn't equal something yet. Okay? So then step 3 says make a variable make a variable named servings that is the double data type and assign it to a value of 4.5. So the data type is going to be double. The name of it is servings, and it wants us to assign it a value of 4.5. End it with a semicolon. Perfect. Step 4 is a char. Declare a variable named rating of char type. So the data type is going to be char. The name of it is rating, and they want us to equal the value of b. Now b is not a word, it's just a letter, and char is a variable type that kind of searches for something. So when it's searching for something, we have to use not double quotes but a single quote. Now a lot of people may call this an apostrophe, but I believe that's just for grammar and English. This is coding, so we like to call this a single quote because we have the double quotes up here. Go ahead and type in capital B, single quote, and then end it with a semicolon. Step 5, it says create a Boolean variable with the name is dairy free and set its value to false. So we're going to go ahead and create a Boolean, and the name of it is. Now the second word has to be capital letter, dairy. Third word, free. Perfect. And then it wants us to set it as false. Wonderful. We are all done with all 5 steps of the step 2 portion. We can go ahead and go into the terminal and run it. Run dash workflow step dash 02. Perfect. It looks like we have a successful build. We can go ahead and move on to step 3. Step 3 says find the initialize variable method and assign it the number of ingredients variable, a value that is the size of the ingredients array using the length property. Sounds like a lot, but we're going to go ahead and start breaking it down. Okay, so first we need to find the initialize variable method. I said earlier that currently we are in the recipe method. So if we scroll down a little bit, you'll see that we have the initialize variable method, and it wants us to assign the number of ingredients. So tab to get everything aligned. Let's go ahead and type out number of ingredients equals, and it says a value that is the size of the ingredients array. So go ahead and type in ingredients. Earlier when we had ingredients, we called it an array, or we created an array out of the ingredients. We don't have to worry about square brackets this one in particular, but we're calling about the ingredients and the length of the ingredients array. So it wants us to also use the length property. Length property is just dot length. So number of ingredients is going to equal however many items are in the ingredients array. If we keep on adding stuff like salt or baking powder, soda, or something, maybe syrup, then it'll add everything together and we'll have a particular amount of items in this ingredients array. Step 2 of step 3, I guess, is the in the print variable method, use the provided print statement to display the recipe title. Scroll down a little bit and you'll have a print variable method. This print variable method also has the print statement. This encoding is the most common print statement that we have. You'll also see that some of them will say print. Some of them will have a print ln, but this is the most common one that you'll see. This is what we use all the time, or will be using all the time. So we found the print variable method, and it says use the provided print statement, which is this, to display the recipe title. So go ahead and get right in between those parentheses, because whatever is inside of those parentheses is what is going to be printed out for the most part. So it wants us to put out title or display the recipe title. However, when it prints out, it's not going to print out title. It's going to print out whatever title equals, which is going to be French toast. Perfect. That finishes step 2. Now step 3 says locate the update variable. It looks like we're already here. If not, go ahead and scroll down a little bit. Locate the update variable method, and within it, change the ingredient cinnamon to nutmeg in the ingredients array. So earlier we said that in the ingredients array, cinnamon was the last one that we had input. Now it wants us to change to nutmeg. So just for example, when it comes to arrays or string arrays, just arrays in general, ingredients equals, an array has a common format and it always starts with 0. In this case, we have 5 different items. Bread is in the 0th place. Milk is in the 1st place. Eggs is in the 2nd place. Butter is in the 3rd place. Sugar is in the 4th. And cinnamon is in the 5th. That means that when we are going to do it, we need to call the particular place inside of the ingredients array square bracket. So ingredients square bracket. We said that cinnamon was in the 5th place. And now it's going to be initialized, or it's going to be updated to nutmeg. Nutmeg is a word, so it has to have those double quotes followed by a semicolon. So what we just did is we called on ingredients placement number 5, or integer 5, which is cinnamon, now equals nutmeg. I'm going to scroll back up. If you type this out, please delete it. That is a new line, but that was just for an example. Once you finish that, you can go ahead and go back to your terminal, and you can do run-workflow step-02 or 03. I'm sorry. Go ahead and run it. Should look just like this here. Looks like we got a successful build there. And we're all done with the assignment. From here, you can go ahead and submit it, or if you'd like, you can stick around and I will show you how to enter the recipe.java file through the terminal. We did it through this folder section, but let's say in the future there is no folder section and they want us to do it directly through the terminal. If that's the case, please do not follow me or do as I do, just follow along from here, okay? So I'm resetting it, that way I can show you guys how to enter it through the terminal. Unless you want to, you can go ahead and follow me through. I'm gonna go through the entire thing again. But from here, or at the very beginning again, we need to get to the recipe.java file. So you're going to go ahead and type this particular area in. We can't enter files directly because it's not a directory using the cd command, but I'll show you how we get there, okay? So go ahead and type in cd src main java com ata, enter. Now we are in the ata directory, and if we want to check, you're going to click ls command. And there it is. The recipe.java file is inside the ATA. With that being said, the next command is how we enter the array. The next command is how we enter the array. And we can try to do recipe.java, but you'll see that it's not a directory. So what we have to do instead is use a new command that we haven't learned just yet. And that new command is called nano. And then we can go ahead and type in recipe.java. Look at that. Looks like we are finally in the Java file, and we can go ahead and customize using the arrow keys. Using the mouse won't allow us to click around like it did in the build section. So when we're in the terminal section, we have to use the arrow keys up and down, left and right, and all that good stuff. So that is how you enter the Java file through the terminal. I'm going to go ahead and start over. Again, you can follow along, and just like the first section, going through the folder section here, you can go ahead and type in the same exact information. And title. Okay, so now that we got to the end here, the way that we're going to exit the terminal is by going down to the upper arrow X. So go ahead and find that on your keyboard, capital X. And then you can go ahead and type the Y for yes. In this section, just go ahead and press enter. Don't add anything or don't change any of the names. There you are, you're back in the terminal. So now if we were to try to run, I'm just going to go down to the very bottom test here, and I'm going to try to do this one right here, run dash workflow space test all. Or throughout each step, you can go ahead and do the run dash workflow space step 3. I'm going to go ahead and run it on all 3 of the steps. All right, perfect. Looks like I had a completely good build. If you want to re-enter, you can go ahead and type in nano recipe.java to get back inside. Again, if you want to exit this particular area, you can't just run workflow in here. It will not work. You have to exit it right here. Find that upper arrow, type X. There you are, all finished. I hope that helps everybody. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. That way I can help. Take care.